Problems arise because you really don't know what you're signing on. We'll welcome in Vinay Singh, CA and property expert, to take all those legal questions. Vinay, thanks very much for being with us today. Okay, I'm going to take this first email. This is from Dipto Basu Roy. He says, I'm an NRI staying in Singapore. I have a property related question. I bought a flat in Bangalore and wanted to know, when should an occupancy certificate be asked for? When can a builder submit an application to get an occupancy certificate? The property that I've invested has 3 different towers, and out of which 1 tower is complete, and the builder has started handing over possession of the flats to owners. The OC is, that's occupation certificate, is not yet obtained. The builders say that they can file for occupancy certificate only when 50% of the flats have been occupied, because facilities such as sewage treatment plant, etc. can only be started if 50% of flats are occupied. What is the actual requirement? Okay, Vinay, you know, even as I read this question, my eyebrows are almost disappearing into my hairline. How is that possible? I mean, 50% people already occupied before you can get a sewage connection, and then you apply for an occupation certificate?
No, none of this makes any sense, Manisha. Actually, when you talk about an occupancy certificate, the unit must be habitable, which means that your sewerage should be in place, your unit should be complete in all respects, electricity, flooring, so on and so forth. Only then can you apply for the occupancy certificate. So what actually happens is that a lot of builders offer you possession. The only difference being that since they cannot officially give you possession till the OC comes, they instead make you sign a kind of a declaration and an affidavit stating that you require this place for the keys to the place, the premises, to carry out interior work. And tomorrow if there is any problem, they will simply wash their hands off and say that we never gave possession. In fact, why the builders do this also is a bit of, a little bit of greed on their part, because the minute they hand over possession to you unofficially, they start charging you maintenance charges. All of this is illegal. Now, in fact, if you will see one of the biggest builders in Bombay, today it says that I am going to hand over possession to you when your premises are ready for fit out. And this is a completely nonsensical concept, if one may say so, because in here, even under MOFA, it is impossible for you to hand over possession until and unless the OC is in place.
Alright, so you're saying that even before he gives his first possession, he must have the occupation certificate?
Absolutely. It's illegal for him to give handover possession in any form until and unless the OC is there, because the OC is the document which entitles you to give possession and is the document which entitles the flat buyer to take possession.
Alright, so in this case, what should Dipto do? What is his recourse to something like this?
I think the safest thing for Dipto to do is to ask for a possession letter from the builder. Tell him, I want a straightforward letter from you saying that you are handing over possession to me. If this document the builder is willing to give, he can go ahead, and if the builder, normally no builder will give you this document until and unless he has the OC in place. So that would be the acid test, I would say.
Alright, Dipto, if you smelled a rat, it's definitely there. So, let's move on to the second question. Anand Kumar Patel on the phone line with us. Anand, hi. Go ahead, shoot your question.
Hey, hi. Actually I have about a 2 BHK flat in Z Residences, Wagholi, Pune, and it was by this Dheeraj Group. And I have bought this flat in October 2011. Till now I have paid 20%. But now what they're saying, they have some legal issues with the Pune Corporation, I found that there's only payment is completed. And now there are, I just paid 20%, I have only the payment receipt plus allotment later. Now when I've asked those guys, what is the legal issue, can you please disclose? They are not willing to disclose what is the legal issue they are facing with Pune Corporation, neither they are willing to answer any queries. So, what kind of legal issues can we get? Because almost within 1.5 years, I paid this amount. It's almost 6 lakhs. Okay, but the builder is not willing to answer my queries.
All right. Okay, this one again looks a bit shady. What do you think, Vinay? I mean, it definitely seems that the builder has gone ahead and sold the project without having all his approvals in place. So, what does Anand do?
Well, let me answer this in 2 parts. First, the whole concept of pre-launch is a very faulty concept. It is not proper for the builder to offer to sell to you a premise where the plans have not yet been approved. But unfortunately, this is what everybody is doing. whether it is a very big builder, a corporate builder, or the small guy, all of them are selling in pre-launch. People are buying, booking in pre-launch. So now this places you in tremendous risk, because since the plans itself are not approved, no agreement is possible to be made. So you have handed over money and you have absolutely nothing in writing as to what promises the builder has made or what commitments the builder has. What eventually happens is there is going to be tremendous delay. The builder is not going to take responsibility. He might even change the unit that he is giving to you. He will go on increasing charges at his own whims and fancies, which you will have to end up paying, because there is nothing in writing. So first thing is that you should be very careful when you are getting into a property to ensure that plans are already in place. Now, having said that, since the builder is now not able to fulfill his commitments and is avoiding you, I think the best solution for you is to approach the consumer forum. At the same time, do collect whatever evidence you can in terms of brochures, in terms of correspondence, and any other communication that you may have, which would give some idea as to what the builder had been promising you earlier. So then you can take it to consumer forum, and I'm sure that you'll get justice there.
Alright, so this one's a little bit more tricky. You will have to go to a consumer court. I mean, if the builder actually gives you back your money with interest, take it back, because I don't think you should wait anymore. Ravi H writes in, he says, I own an apartment in Mahadevpura, Whitefield Road, Bangalore. The project has a 40-acre integrated enclave of 12 wings, 1600 plus apartments built in 2 phases. During the sale, the builder promoter had made it compulsory to pay for the clubhouse. We have all paid a separate check to a sister concern of the company, which is a hospitality company. The agreement mentioned about monthly service charges to be paid based on usage, which we felt was usual. Now, the clubhouse was the last to be constructed. The builder has agreed to give a concession for the first few months to compensate for the delay, but there's a big debate on the charges which are being levied. The builder is demanding a minimum payment of over 1600 rupees per month, and this is over and above the charges for the guests. But more than that, where there is a huge interest if not paid, there's a large sum for transfer of club membership to be paid when the apartment ownership changes, even within the family. Now, this is something I just can't understand. What do you do, Vinay? I mean, what if I'm giving that apartment to my son? Even then, he has to now pay a fresh club charge. Why? Monthly payment. I paid for that entire flat and all the amenities. So, what do you do?
I think, Manisha, the problem starts is that when we go to book a flat, we are, looking at so many other things, the amenities that are being granted to us, and whether we are getting a modular kitchen, whether we are getting, fittings, so on and so forth. But the one thing which is critical, and most people do not bother to discuss this with the builder, is the agreement itself. Now, it's an agreement which means that 2 people must agree. The builder cannot plonk something before you and say, please sign here, or take it or leave it. So increasingly, if we are going to question the builder and we insist that, okay, here is a clause, I want to negotiate on this. If enough people start demanding this from the builders, I am sure that they will negotiate. Today, most people don't ask. So the 1 or 2 people who dare to ask are shown the door. This is actually what is happening. So now again, if these conditions have been agreed to by the flat buyer, tomorrow if you take him to court, this is exactly the defense he will take. He'll say, you agreed to this. Nonetheless, I think that if the entire charges are unreasonable, you have a good case. You have 2 options in my opinion. A is that you can take it to the consumer forum as a group. Your residents welfare association or whatever body is there in place could take this to the consumer forum and fight the case there. Another option is there. If you are able to establish that this builder is a dominant player in that market, you could even approach the Competition Commission of India. Now, if you will see the kind of orders that are emanating from that body, I mean, they are really fantastic. So, if you are able to prove that he is forcing us to sign terms and conditions which are not proper, you could get a lot of relief from that body as well. So, both the options are there before them. I think the Resident Welfare Association should take this up.
All right, Ravi, so don't do this alone. Get together with the Residents Welfare Association and then fight the battle. And hopefully, Vinay, we'll have a real estate regulator who will map out these things much more closely, and we will not have so many questions coming to us, maybe perhaps by the end of the year. Thank you very much for joining in today. Okay, we're going to be back in a moment and we'll bring you projects in Navi.